Welcome to the 5-Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and today I'm lucky enough to have Scott Forbes from Verizon in the studio. Thanks for your service.
Chris, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So, hey, Scott, so tell us where you're from, what you do in the military, and what do you do in your post-military career?
All right, sure, Chris. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on the show today. It's a huge honor to get to meet you and spend some time here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, thank you.
And as for me, I originally came from a small Jersey Shore town named Cape May. It's the very tip of New Jersey.
All right.
Spent my whole life there, and then after university, I spent the better part of the last few decades living, working, and learning overseas with the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing how they do that, right?
Yeah, like ship me off. So I spent 25 years in. Yeah. During those 25 years, I deployed once for combat to Iraq and twice to Afghanistan, multiple operational overseas tours all through Eastern Europe and parts of Africa. So a very fulfilling career, got to see a lot of the world, which was great. And then my pinnacle assignment brought me to JBLM, which is in Washington State. And I was the Aviation Maintenance Operations Manager and test pilot for a fleet of 129 aircraft that were dispersed at various locations around that Pacific region.
That's quite the career. It's funny. I told some folks, I got some neighbors, mostly civilians, and they're like, yeah, you seem pretty well traveled. And they ask me questions like, how do you understand people? I said, if you don't understand people, you travel and you read. If you do that, you'll get to know folks. And I was fortunate enough to be stationed with Africa Command out of Stuttgart, Germany. So I spent a lot of time on the continent, and it's amazing to see how blessed we are as a nation. When you see other people and how they live, but the influence of what we do as a military, it's exponential. The investment that we provide them just through our interactions with those different countries. So, now, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So that journey from post-military career, did you know you were going to make your way to Verizon, or how'd that look?
No. So I retired out of JBLM during the peak of the COVID era. So it was very tumultuous on so many levels, and you can imagine what it was like to transition out during COVID. Everything was broke.
Right.
I did a Hiring Our Heroes corporate fellowship program. It's a type of skill bridge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that got my foot into the door with Verizon.
Okay.
So my first job with them was as a senior analyst, which I did that job for a year for a lab, fully remote.
Was it very familiar with what you did in uniform?
Not at all.
Totally different. Okay.
Totally different. A complete career pivot. I went from being a pilot to being a data analyst. So a lot of late nights, a lot of studying, a lot of SQL queries, which was a new language for me.
Yeah.
Did that job for a year, and then I saw an opportunity within Verizon pop up as the senior analyst for drone safety and standards.
Wow.
Which was really perfect for me. It fit my skill set.
Yeah.
And I was dealing with some imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Working as a senior analyst. So
who's this guy, Scott Forbes?
In data, senior analyst for aviation, no problem.
Right.
So I applied, got that position. We have a very robust drone program in Verizon.
Yeah.
So if you may not know, we're one of the largest corporate drone programs out there. But
did not know that. Wow.
We've got in excess of 200 commercially rated small UAS pilots.
Wow.
And over 400 small UAS. So quite a fleet.
That's amazing.
We use it for mostly infrastructure inspection.
Okay.
And that's been my job now, going for about a year and a half.
No kidding. And obviously, a year and a half, so you like it thus far, obviously.
Yes.
So you and I were talking off camera. It's funny. So I've said this to a couple friends when I got out of the Marines in 2000. I mean, literally, we come in the military, a couple hundred of us, thousands of us at one time, and then we leave as an individual. And at the time in 2000, there was no such thing as transition assistance program. There was none of these nonprofits out there like Hire Our Heroes, 4 Block. We're going to get into talking about 4 Block. So none of that stuff existed. And now you have all these resources. But when I talk to veterans out there who kind of have some difficulty in their transition, I say, like American Corporate Partners, the Commit Foundation, 4 Block, there's so many others. And I know of them, but I haven't done anything with them. I go, why not? I said, well, I haven't put myself out there. Well, you need to do that. So, how's your experience been with Hire Our Heroes and 4 Block?
Well, so it's a very good point. I often tell people that I'm coaching now, there's so much out there, it can almost be overwhelming which direction you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So find what fits you.
Yeah.
4 Block is a transition program that I did after Hiring Our Heroes to try and build a network to where I was going, which was here in Florida.
Right.
So I did the Southeast Virtual. And we have a transition program in the military, but it just scratches the surface.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you may know, 4 Block goes a lot more into some of the skills you need to transition from that military career to a career in business
Yeah.
or even entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You build that out. Now, a veteran has to own their transition, right? So
Yeah.
if they're not willing to put in that work, then they're only going to get so far.
Right.
So the onus is on the veteran to own that transition, and then
Yeah.
they will find a program that will work for them.
No, that's good. I like it. I like the 3 programs that I went through personally. I know there's more again. I enjoy it because there's different variations, but the common thread, as you stated, was you got to put yourself out there. You got to be able to put the homework in, and then you got to do the follow through. And you know, as I told an individual, I'm giving a little bit of coaching myself too. I said, you know, we talk about in uniform, you got to have courage, you know, physical and moral courage. This is where, and it's hard sometimes in the military to throw yourself out there, especially in the civilian world where it's very uncomfortable, but you got to put yourself out there. And I imagine you've seen folks that have done very well or maybe not so much. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, as a coach for 4-Block and in hiring our heroes before,
Yeah.
and now Verizon, we take on new cohorts of hiring our heroes as well.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed by the caliber
Yeah.
of the individuals. And I mean, we have amazing professionals in the military that are very diverse in their skill sets. But to go into that new field, go into corporate America can be quite intimidating for them at first.
Absolutely.
And that's the part, like, you kind of have to remind leaders that you've worked with, hey, you're dynamic. You have absolutely what it takes.
Yeah.
You just have to tailor yourself to what that new position is going to be for you.
I love that because, like I tell folks, you know, hey, you know, because I've been out in business before and my break-in service is like, you have to learn their language.
Yes.
They're not going to learn yours. And you know, your rank, whatever it was, is many times immaterial, or not even understood in many cases. So, so what's your value proposition? And then what are you willing to put the calories in? So what's your self-study program? And again, putting yourself out there. Have you sought mentors out in the business community that can help you? So for me, you know, I understand finance and balance sheets and P&L sheets and stuff, but you know, I want to be smart in that area, so I sought out an individual who non-military related, who I get mentorship from to help me, you know, kind of, you know, strengthen up that area that I want some help in. So it's good that you're doing what you're doing. And 4-Block, you know, thus far has been very good for me, and I've learned a lot. I like the fact they bring companies in and they talk about them, and you get to understand industries too. So
yeah. Now, being a career readiness coach for 4-Block has been great because, for one, it keeps me sharp. If I have to coach somebody else, because people will come to me randomly on LinkedIn and ask for an informational interview. So in that, I can also stay current, but I also get to guide some of these other veterans.
That's awesome.
And like you probably did interviewing, I think,
absolutely.
right? Was your session last night. So we go through a very diverse range of subjects, and you even get to practice how to do an interview at a different company.
I know, it's for free, by the way.
Absolutely,
Go figure.
100% for free.
Yeah, my
It's the best
favorite
part.
price.
And there are so many free opportunities out there, right? Whether it's doing your VA claim or learning how to work in the civilian sector. There's free resources.
That's awesome.
More than enough.
Well, hey, Scott, thanks for your service. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you coming.
Chris.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yes,
and
it was great to meet you.
Yeah, amazing what you're doing there with Verizon. This whole, you know, the space with drones is just going to continue to get more, I won't say complex, but it's going to be bigger in our society as we move forward. So
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks everybody. If you like what you hear and like what we're talking about here and the 5-minute salute, please follow us on LinkedIn. And thanks for Operation Barnabas for supporting today's segment. We'll see you in the next episode.
Operation Barnabas is a veterans ministry, started in 2017 with the purpose of helping our veterans that kind of got left behind.
These people went over and went to war for us, and a lot of their friends didn't come back, and that's a lot of the stuff that we as veterans deal with is there's a lot of people that didn't make it back, and then it's like, why are we here? So and then they isolate.
And you know, they've struggled with addictions, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, those kind of things, helping them get whole again through one-to-one mentorship.
So being able to communicate with them and help them can drastically change their life, can drastically change a family's life. The little that we can do is put our hand out and say, hey, do you want a hand up? Like, we're not giving a hand out. Do you want a hand up? And just be able to be there with them and do life with them and just be able to help them, because, man, they put their life on the line for you and me.